Welcome to the Write Your Own Story podcast. I'm your host, Betsy Leonidas, and the founder of the Write Your Own Story company. Girl, I can tell you right now, you are definitely enough. Here we value service, sisterhood, connection, laughter, and that super genuine, keep it real, tell you like it is honesty. My hope is at the end of each episode, you realize you can do whatever it is you dream about and that you are not alone with what you struggle with. I'm hoping that you are snapping and clapping and hell yes in your way through each one of these episodes. So if this tracks with you, let's get started. I'm so glad you're here. Today, I wanted to really talk to Rachel about all the amazing things that you've got going on, but really to kind of open up to women really what this notion around inspiring resilience and authentic, feminine leadership means. So you have had quite a ride, and it's really remarkable. And one of the things that, is really a pillar of who you are and what I would love to start with is this notion of gratitude. What does gratitude even mean to you?
Wow. Hi. So I've been building businesses here in the region since 2010. So just a little bit, if you don't know what I've done, just for a little context, started my first company in 2010, Grateful Grams, actually closed that company at the end of 2023. We sold graham crackers and sold them across the country. I have a nonprofit called the Incubator Kitchen Collective. We're in Newport, Kentucky. We have a 10,000 square foot commercial kitchen space that helps food entrepreneurs. We've helped over 250 startups here. So if you guys ever need more local food, I'm your girl. There's another project called Good and Local. It's still in food space where we're actually building out the region's only wholesale food show. It's coming up April 7th. We do programming. We've got a phenomenal board that helps us build that here in the region. Really rooted back in. We have great resources for food here, but we have nothing in this region to help these guys get past small. And then there's a Rachel bucket. So in the Rachel bucket, I was getting asked to do stuff outside of Grateful Grams and Incubator. And so this Rachel bucket, I do lots of crazy stuff. I just wrote a book. I gave a keynote in Italy in December. I work on the River Roots project. I'm part of the Queen City Game Changers build team. I do speaking stuff, all kinds of fun stuff. And then there's Power to Pursue.
People in this.
Oh, hi. I don't know who you were, but come on.
I know.
And then there's Power to Pursue, and Power to Pursue is our women's empowerment movement. You guys, it is the coolest body of work I've ever built. We'll have 850 people at Music Hall in May, and we have less than 200 seats left. So all of that to get to this question. So
You're bored is really what I'm taking away from this. You're
I'm
bored,
so
you rest a lot.
Yeah, I do. I go to bed at 7.
I'm sure.
I really do.
Sure. Yeah.
It's weird.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
But I call this the Gratitude Collective. And I started everything in April of 2010 to spread the message of gratitude and build community. At my core of who I am, that is purpose for me. I believe so deeply that if you want to have a cup overflowing life, gratitude is the path to that. And when we were talking about it earlier, what comes often is, well, I grew up and at dinner table it was like, you should be grateful for the peas, right? Like, have we had that experience before on the shouldas with gratitude? That's not how gratitude works. And so I like dispelling that. And the way that I talk and teach about gratitude is that part of the human experience is just stuff, right? Being stuck in the mud, transitions at work, grief, a loss, it doesn't matter, right? Trauma. And it just comes and it's here with you, right? Like, humaning's a lot.
It's heavy.
And gratitude just comes and says, hey girl, take a deep breath. Oh, okay, why don't you take another deep breath? Oh, you're a little worried about that call you have this afternoon, right? So you're feeling a little anxious. And gratitude just goes, that's okay that you feel a little anxious. Let's just reframe that. What are 3 things quickly I can go to say, what am I grateful for? Well, I'm grateful that I have clean drinking water. I'm grateful that I even have the opportunity for this call that's making me anxious. Usually that's a good thing, right? And so gratitude, just all it does is it brings a little light to that. So it doesn't, the way we've been taught is that it takes it away. It doesn't. It keeps it right there, but it brings the light with it. And this is why it's so important. This is why it's so important, is because all it is a little glimmer. And don't we need that now more than ever? And we think that little glimmer is not glimmery enough, right? Like,
yeah, absolutely. And we know what it's like to feel that energetic sort of beaming from the inside out when things are really good. We know what that feels like when you're in flow, when you're amongst good company, when you get really into a conversation, you can feel yourself beaming from the inside out. And sometimes, like my dad would always say, like, your tank is low. And to me, gratitude is the quickest way to fill your tank back up. And you can start to feel that glow come back. And you're like, you know what? I've got this. I've got this.
We think it's more like, what I love, it's free and it's accessible, unless you buy my new journal. It's 2156. Entrepreneurs always entrepreneuring. But
it's a verb.
Like it's so accessible. It's accessible to your kids. It's accessible to your parents. Like, it doesn't care what race you are. It doesn't care what spirituality you have. That's part of the magic of it. There's so many of these spiritual tools, or tools anyway, in our toolbox. And like, it has to be this. Well, gratitude is like this. It's so much broader. And we're like, well, that's too easy. Like, it can't work. That's too easy. But that's the whole point, is bringing simplicity back into these moments, you guys. Like, it all can't be big. Nor do you want it all to be big.
And when we think about like the greatest things in life, it's always a slow build, right? I mean, anything.
I go by good things take time.
They sure do.
Good things take time.
Think about the relationships that you have in your life, your relationships with your kids, the little humans that we're all raising. If you think about, your career that you're building, it's a decision by decision, moment by moment, day by day, year by year kind of thing. And so gratitude is the same in that regard.
That's the only reason I'm still an entrepreneur. I can wholeheartedly, I've woken up in the middle of the night and written closing letters to every company I own. Pure panic. I'm done. I can't.
Oh, yeah. I love to break up with companies that I've started.
I can't keep going, I've learned to rest a little more. I remember I remember calling my dad maybe 7-8 years ago. This is year 15. The year 15, I think I finally maybe know what I'm doing. Like, take the pressure of like having to, golly. I tell anybody, especially an entrepreneur, if you think you know what you're doing in the first year, like, no.
Or that you're going to make money.
I just want you to know. Oh my God, I love that one. You won't.
No.
I want you in your first year of trying the thing to see if it's something you like trying enough to keep going with it. Permission to try is more valuable than permission of profit. Right? No, sorry. But like it, because we got to reconnect those things again, right? Like, we can all be millionaires. Like, I think money is energy, and like, it's something we can all work towards. I'm not there yet. But it's this idea that like, we have to know it all.
Yeah.
Right? Or it has to be so perfect to even start. That's not real. That's ego. So can you drop out of your head and into your heart? Get back into your body. That's the word.
Yeah. And that is the quickest way to drop out of your head and into your heart, is through gratitude. Don't you think? That's what quiets the ego.
It's hard to be egotistical while also going, oh my gosh, that guy held the door open for me this morning. And Susie shared her lunch with me when she realized I forgot. Like, you guys, we're moving so fast through life. We miss when our neighbor helps us. Man, I don't want to miss that.
Absolutely not. No, I mean, that's the beauty in life all around you. And if you go too fast, you're truly going to miss it.
Yeah. And it's a little crazy, my life. But I don't want to not be able to recognize that. I don't want to be moving so fast that when my team knocks it out of the ballpark, I'm like, well, what's next? Got to hit it faster and harder. Yeah. It's thank you for helping us get over that finish line, right? That's really important. That change is accessible and cultivatable. Is that a word?
It is now.
Great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
So when people are, the world is heavy right now, right? And we all are, whether you're, just walking out into the world, going to Kroger, or if you are running your kids to sports, or you're sitting in your meeting that you've been anxious about for an hour, just in general, the world feels heavy right now. And I feel like now more than ever is the perfect time to practice our gratitude. What does the actual practice look like to you? Because I feel like how do you, I was just watching, has anyone watched the new Meghan Markle show? The first couple episodes, I was like, no, thank you. But then I was like, where are my dried flowers for everything? Oh my God, I need to sprinkle that on everything. But one of the things that she said in her show that I really liked was that it is not a routine, it's ritual. So like she was talking about washing your face at night or whatever. And it's not a routine like, oh, I have to get it done right. Or I have to go to the gym because I have to do this because I'm trying to be skinny and whatever. It's like, what is the ritual that is for you? And gratitude is so much for you. And I feel like when people go to learn new practices, maybe I'm just projecting because I'm a recovering perfectionist, but like, it's like, okay, what do I do? How do I do it? I have to do it perfectly, but like,
do it the right way.
I got to do it the right way. Otherwise it's not going to work. And then here I am failing at gratitude. Like, when people are like, okay.
Got a bunch of flailing gratitude losers around here. No,
right. I'm a B- gratituder. It doesn't feel good. No, but
Isn't it?
Yeah.
That's such a human. That's the human in us going, oh, I got to get it. I can do it better. Yeah. Right. Gosh, that simplicity piece again, right? Like we don't think it's this easy. So there's a few ways. So at dinner with my kids, single mom, 3 kids, right? Hanging out. We call it roses and thorns. And we started this years ago and my kids were little. I would say, gosh, they were probably 3 when we started roses and thorns. And why I like that, especially with the kids, is that the thorn gives them a chance to talk about something that didn't go well for them that day. And I think that is an underused human muscle, to feel confident in talking about what's not working well, right? To be vulnerable, to say somebody hurt my feelings, right? Unless you're with your girlfriends, then it's easy. Give us a margarita and you're going to know about everybody's pain that they've ever caused.
That'll be the next theme.
So roses and thorns is fun. We go around, what's the best part of your day? What's the worst part of your day? For years, it was pen and paper for me. And I'm not, you need this special notebook, except my journal. Oh gosh.
We're going to play bingo. Then we get to 5. Someone gets a prize. But hey, I'm here for it. Her journal is beautiful. Everybody
It's a 90-day.
Yeah.
Well, I'll come back to the journal.
Yeah.
It's every day, what are 3 to 5 things that you're grateful for? And I think the importance here is, are you starting your day in reflection of yesterday? Right? And so this is the important part of it. Are you starting to build that routine in the morning where I'm going, yesterday, here's 5 things that I'm grateful for? Or are you starting that routine at the end of the day, crawl into bed, you pull out your little, your journal, and you do it then? Right? So one, find the right time that works for you. It doesn't matter if it's 2 p.m. or 7:55. Like, what matters is that the practice meets you where you're at. Because if the practice doesn't meet you where you're at, it can't help you get where you're going, right? You've already set yourself up for failure because you're trying to not get it to work in your rhythm. So I think that's really important. If you're a pen and paper girly, raise your hand. I know there's some of you, thank you for admitting it, is order the thing. It doesn't matter like what it is, but get it, because otherwise you can't start the practice. The other thing to remember is, like you had kind of said, like, oh, I gave it 3 days.
Yeah,
I gave it 3 days, didn't notice a difference, it's out of here. Yeah. This isn't a quick burn. I've had a gratitude practice literally since 6th grade. And I tell this story, and I just wrote a book, and I tell this story. I remember coming home from school, and I was so sad. The kids were so mean to me. I changed schools. I was the big girl. I had the big hips and probably that swishy tracksuit that was so cool back then.
So cool.
I thought I was so cool.
You were so cool.
And my dad just said to me, I said, like, why? Like, these girls are so mean. I don't get it. And he dispelled all of it and by going, it's all about loving yourself. The whole purpose, your whole job in your life is to love who you are. Well, screw you, Dad. I'm in 6th grade.
Right?
Like, throw me a bone. And in that message, and he said, and be grateful for all of it. And in that moment, my whole life, I can see myself. Like, I remember that word just blowing my brain, going, oh, I can do something about it. They can't hurt me if I'm looking for light every day. Holy crap. Like, and it works. So I've been building this muscle. I tell people all the time, like, I'm over 30 years in, y'all. Let me have a strong muscle. You guys can go to the gym and lift all the weights. I got muscle gratitude down. And I say that because we think that it's going to happen really quickly, and it doesn't. Gratitude happens over your lifetime. My job and my purpose is I just want to embody it deeper and deeper. People are like, what's your practice now? My practice right now is my breath. Mm-hmm. I am in awe of every in and every out. I've embodied it so much. I am in so much awe of being alive. I get to show up and do the work that I get to do. I get to hug my people every day. I get to build a team. Like, it's so cool.
It's very cool.
I've had to give up everything to do that. I've almost lost my house. I've eaten more rice and beans than you can imagine. I started all of this with $1,000 15 years ago. I sit on no business debt. I have no investors. The one I brought on stole all my money. And it just made me want to build better. It made me want to sink into the practice. When I tell that example, I go to, if you're going to go run a marathon, you probably wouldn't go to the store and buy a brand new pair of shoes and get to running. Like, in my practical brain, I'd probably go pull out my old gymmers and try to see if I can walk around the block. Like, that feels like a good, that's a good start. So with gratitude, go 3 things a day. And then in week 2, can you do 5 things a day? And then in week 3, can you push to 7 things a day? Oh, and then in week 4, can you drop back down? Ease. Again, like, our culture is more, faster, harder. That's not what gratitude just is here. It's just gonna like come in and just kind of just be this little guiding light.
Absolutely. I think
that answer that?
Yes, it did. Absolutely. I think also, mine is in the morning because writing brings me joy. I get my favorite pen, whatever color I feel like writing with, my favorite notebook. I'm like a paper girly, but sometimes at night, I'm like, when you're anxious going to sleep, I just will rattle things off in my head as I'm falling asleep, and it puts you right to bed. So how is it translated really towards your work? I know that you say that it's kind of what is kept.
My work.
Yeah.
My work is not building a women's conference. My work is not building a food show. My work is spreading gratitude. That's it. My purpose is spreading gratitude. My work is building community. My purpose is spreading community. Like, I don't care. Because all of it gets done.
Yeah.
I haven't thought about how I'm building 4 companies right now in years, because I know it's going to get done. I trust it. I believe it. Like, I don't know. I fly on so much faith.
Yeah.
And so if you start today, though, I promise you tomorrow will be better.
Hey, busy moms and aspiring entrepreneurs. If you want to learn how to build a high-income business in just 20 hours a week so you can enjoy more time with your kids, all while transforming yourself from overwhelmed to confident in just 90 days, then you need to check out my masterclass. I'm Betsy, a busy mom of 4 and a business coach obsessed with helping women just like you build thriving businesses that fit your life, not the other way around. After 20 years in marketing and building my own nonprofit and e-commerce business, I know exactly what it takes to go from overwhelmed to empowered. That's why I created my self-paced digital masterclass designed to help you move forward with clarity and confidence. So whether you're starting from scratch or recalibrating an existing business, my masterclass will take you from stuck and overwhelmed to simplified, organized, confident, and clear in your next steps. If you want to learn things like how to create a successful business that aligns with your personal life and brings you happiness, if you want to learn how to acquire the confidence and strategies needed to overcome self-doubt and thrive in your entrepreneurial journey, if you want to obtain the knowledge and tools to take control of your business finances with confidence, if you want to gain essential skills and strategies to effectively promote your business with confidence and ease, and if you want to discover practical strategies and systems to manage the challenges of entrepreneurship, then
you should absolutely check out the 5-section self-paced digital masterclass from the Female Founders Academy. It's just $5.97. Plus, every course comes with free worksheets to guide you through. Learn on your own time, at your own pace, in the privacy of your home. So if you want to learn how to build a high-income business in just 20 hours a week so you can enjoy more time with your kids, all while transforming yourself from overwhelmed to confident in just 90 days, then visit writeyourownstory.co/FFA-courses or click the link in the show notes below.
Okay, so when we talk about this notion of you just embody gratitude and that is what your purpose is, and how, like,
It's taken me years to get there.
truly, but also, like, don't you feel like that just opens up this flow in your life where you don't have to think about the X, Y, and the Z? Like, when you are living in your purpose, one of the things that I found on the show, I've had the opportunity to interview, I've hundreds of women and hours of conversation. One of the things that I constantly hear, one of the key themes, is that if you are doing something that is a natural extension of your genuine gifts, people are the happiest I've ever met, the most successful I've ever met.
Does it matter where?
No.
Janitor to CEO.
Right. If you are doing something that is in the extension of your natural gifts, which yours being gratitude and spreading that with power, it comes back tenfold. So, like,
And I've had every mentor, advisor. I mean, I had a woman tell me I was going to die. I had a SCORE mentor who was like, I don't know how you make money off of selling gratitude. And I'm like, hell if I know either. Thank you.
But it's happening.
But we'll figure it out.
Yes.
And it's taken time to figure that out. But if it wasn't rooted in purpose or mission, then for me, like, what's the purpose?
right. 1,000%. What's the purpose? How do we get out of bed every day? How we, continue to go. Okay, let's transition a little bit to resilience, because I think they really do go hand in hand. And resilience is something that I feel like, women are constantly challenged with. How do we be more resilient? How do we be stronger? How do we be, well, what does resilience mean to you?
I often come back to this line. My goal is to find the balance between soft and strong.
Yes, agreed. I think a lot of women can relate to that.
I think that as a woman, we've been told and tasked that we can only be successful when we're in our masculinity. Being very mindful, very demure with my words right now.
Nobody's gonna know.
And we talked about it even earlier when we were going over, like, some of the questions of, like, this idea, like, I want to meet a woman who's not been told she has to know it all in order to move forward. I think the most powerful thing a woman leader has is her tenderness. It's the magic we're the most afraid of because every institution has told us not to have that, right? So I'll loop it here into resiliency. But the last thing I want to know is it all. That is
Yeah, and as we were saying, it's also impossible. It's like the notion of being perfect. They don't exist. You will never know it all, and you will never be perfect.
I just want to get out of that pressure cooker as fast as possible. Like, I'm the person who's like, well, hell if I know. We're gonna call somebody.
I'm gonna Google it.
So
like
you
I do
surround
everything
yourself
else
with people. So I want to just say that because I think that part of this rush towards resiliency is because we're operating in pressure cookers that tell us that we have to know it all and we have to be the best. And there's one seat at the table. And if we're not, then we don't get the seat. You always have a seat if you don't leave home without your chair. So, like, that is a false myth, right? Ladies, we just, like, get a little cute carrier probably on Amazon. You just put that stuff on your back and you go. But with resiliency, it's not bad. Right? Like, it isn't this negative thing. Resiliency is good. It's our bounce back. I've bounced back from a lot. I've gone through a rough marriage, divorce, the death of my mom, the investor. Maybe resiliency's taught me it's me all along. Maybe resiliency's stripped down everything that's not working. Maybe resiliency has actually given me a little hope. maybe resiliency's actually reminded me how important the tender breath is, right? I want to tenderize resiliency, because it's not a bad thing to be resilient. Life's going to happen. Life does not stop, like, right? And it's like when you're in life and then it starts life-ing and you're like, whoa, I got enough life happening over here. Life, can you just slow down for a second, life? No, anybody else?
I mean, every day.
Right?
Yeah.
But we get through it, right? I love that phrase, you've gotten through every worst day you've ever had.
You know, it makes me think, as you were talking about this balance of soft and strong. I think one of the secret linchpins to resiliency is vulnerability. If you can say, this is what's hard.
I love vulnerability.
Me too.
I love it.
Me too. And now once you start, you can't stop.
Again, it goes back to it's a muscle.
Yeah.
Vulnerability is feeling safe, right? It's really hard to be vulnerable if you don't feel safe. And I think it's when I talk about Power to Pursue is a women's empowerment movement whose mission it is to create a safe space for women to be seen, heard, and loved in, because it's the thing we have the least amount of access to. You have access to how to type faster, or like how to be a better marketer, or like mothering 101. Like we have access to all of this stuff. We don't have access where all of us can show up though, right? Where the hats, these titles, these names, we're all working towards this. But like at the end of the day, like I just want a room where Rachel can come. Because then I can be vulnerable. Then I can be my truest self because I feel safe.
And I think safety, it's a two-sided coin, and that we have to feel safe within ourselves, right? You have to know what it's like to feel safe within your own body. But then when I think about all of us out into the work world, how do we build an environment within our teams or within our communities where people feel safe?
Well, we have to continue normalize normal things. So
somebody normalizing normal things?
Normalizing normal things.
I'm obsessed with that. That's awesome.
No, we say it all the time in Power to Pursue. Like at the end of the day, our job at Power to Pursue is just to normalize normal things. Every woman I know is carrying a load. Every woman I know is, got stuff going on monthly. I mean, just like there's just stuff that comes with being a lady.
Yeah. 100%,
so like,
right?
And so does somebody have to be the vulnerability pioneer? Yeah. Somebody on the team, the extrovert has to speak up, right? And that's not bad. Check on your extroverts. Like literally, check in on them. We tired. We keep going.
True story.
And I think it's bearing witness to, right? So if we start seeing an example, then we understand it, and then we can try, right? Like it's this team idea. Well, why wouldn't that work? Like what if we got present and actually listened? Oh, yeah. It's a whole word, right?
Versus thinking of what your response is while someone's talking.
Yeah.
I know it's hard not to do it, but
I think that vulnerability, resiliency, gratitude, leadership, it's you. That's it. It's you. You're the magic.
And I love how you said, to create that around you, you have to be it first. You have to be brave enough to lead by example. And that could be from a place of softness. That could be from a place of strength. It can toggle minute to minute, but sort of knowing that is what you desire. And that is what creates the best environment, whether it be at work or at home or whatever, that you have to be brave enough to be all of those things and to share that with others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the more you do it, the stronger the muscle gets, right?
Yes.
And so now let's get a little woo-woo.
I love woo-woo. Let's do it.
But a lot of this is not stemmed in your adult self.
Right.
Your beliefs or lack of beliefs is something you learned when you were like 5. I was working with a woman once doing some mentoring and strategy work, and she had a couple of business ideas. And when she was moving schools, she was in the soccer and gymnastics, right? And when they moved, her parents said, you have to pick one. Well, here she was, a 50-year-old woman building businesses, but in her mind, she had 2 ideas, growing both of them, but couldn't grow them together because that wasn't real. Because her belief was, I can only grow one thing at a time. So I challenge anyone who's having that fear, lack of belonging, lack of acceptance, like that, there's a story that you're also telling yourself that ties into the suffering component that we talked about. That's all fixable, healable. You don't have to keep carrying around 7-year-old Sally, or do, but just know that like she's walking right alongside of you making some of those decisions that maybe she's not old enough to make anymore, you know? And so
Sally, you're too young to drive.
Yeah, like just get in the back, Sal. Like you're good. You know, I tell like little Rachel, I'm like, you're safe.
Yeah. I think
little Rachel, all of you is lovable. You're not too loud, sis. You're not too big, sis. You're not like, it's okay that you don't know. Like I still remind little Rachel those things.
What are some of your favorite shoulds to debunk? Those are you've listed some great ones.
I mean, any should that comes at you, you should just like, that's out of here.
I know. That's the worst word in the English language.
Yeah.
Besides sure, I hate the word sure. It's so indifferent. Just exclamate it or something. But
yeah.
Should is it truly is like the impetus of doubt.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, so many of us just automatically operate from a place of shoulds.
Yeah, because we think that's what's accessible to us because we've been taught that the world's here. I want gratitude to show you that the world's here.
I love that.
You know, there's nothing wrong about being safe, but I do want to remind you that you can be safe out here. And I think that's really important because we are good students, and then we go to college, and then we get the job, and then we find the partner, and then we have the kid, you know, whatever, like.
And life still blows up.
That's not real.
No.
For the ones of you that's real, bless up.
Yeah.
Like, don't.
Right. Put that in your journal.
Right now. Yeah. That's a gratitude.
No, but I love what you're saying. And like one of my very favorite questions to ask on the show, you know, when we think about, you know, your tunnel vision and we're following our shoulds and we're trotting right along and we're doing the very best, being the very best human that we've been programmed to be, what are some of the pivots in your life that have either happened to you or you've made happen that really kind of, and you were talking about this safe lane that we all feel that really shook your core of safety, but how has it been in such great service for you? Time to get vulnerable.
Yeah, I'm like, where should I start? I mean, my marriage falling apart literally 4 weeks before what was at that time the largest conference I'd ever put on. We were 4 weeks out from Power to Pursue in 2023. And I had to get through it, you know? I couldn't open my suffering yet. I had to hold my suffering because I had a job to get done. I think about the investor who stole my money, and I guess I didn't say what, like the divorce. I walked off the stage at Power to Pursue in 2023 so light. I'm depleted. I leave it all on the court. And I remember walking off stage, and I remember looking at like my core group, and I'm like, where are we going? Girls ready. Like I felt so good.
Love that.
Right?
Yep.
The investor, he taught me how burnt out I really was, that I just like was so quick to maybe to like, I had to in fraud, there's so much pointing back of like, well, you let the fox in the hen house. Well, I didn't ask the fox to eat all, you know what I mean?
Yep,
like, so quick to like, that's just our culture. Like, let's just blame, and I'll own it. Like, I knew that taught me a great lesson, which was like, yes, I need more help.
Right. And so even by being, yes, I need more help. One of the things that you had said to me before we started the show was that like your greatest gift is the people who you've surrounded yourself with, who all of them are smarter than you. And I love you for saying that. That's what makes a great leader, is to be like, I have blind spots, I have gaps, and I am so blessed to be surrounded by people who can help me fill those.
I haven't talked about this publicly yet. Not because mainly because I have other stuff to talk about. And this doesn't feel as important in like the scope of work that we have right now. It's real. This is our go season. We run January through May 16th. That's almost the first half of the year. It's fine. So in that, like as a leader and as I'm looking at what I'm building and how I want to step in, yes, I have a team right now, all women. They are incredible. Tara's here. So Tara's part of my Power to Pursue team. She runs all logistics for us. She keeps track of every single thing that comes in that needs to be on a spreadsheet. It is amazing. Allie is my incubator kitchen collective and good and local. And then Danielle kind of oversees all of it. I have board members because we have some nonprofits in there. I just stepped down in one of my companies. Whoa. And that's really huge. So it sounds so silly because I'm not a title person. I tell people like I'm a really good hugger. I don't like everything else as a bonus.
I can attest. That was a great hug.
I don't want pressure of like what those titles bring. So I'm executive director of the incubator. It's a beautiful body of work, but I just stepped down from that role. And the reason I stepped down from that role is I'm CEO. I'm still active. My job actually has become a little less chaotic, a little more defined from a mental capacity, which was really what I was going for. But because I was willing to get out of my way, I just paved a path forward for a woman on my team to step up into leadership in a way that she is dying for, you know? Mm-hmm. And like we had literally 3 of us cried on our board call a couple weeks ago when we talked about it. And I didn't think anything of it. I'm just like, yeah, I got stuff to do and I don't want to slow down. So part of it was an answer to that, but I'm so proud because I think I think a lot of us, like we want to, it's ours and we just hold it and we like suck all the life out of it. Like, right? Like what is this thing that you're carrying around that's like so strangled? Mm-hmm. Oh my God, you guys, I've been running a kitchen for, this is year 12, 13, 12. And so it gave me I'm really proud of it. I think it's just, again, it goes back to this opportunity of I can drop into my like strong and be like, it's fine, I can do it all. Or I can drop into my tenderness and go, actually, for us to go 10 feet, it needs a new leader because I could probably only carry it 2 feet. Because I don't want to give up anything else I'm working on. I'm having a blast. And my team rolls with the punches. I take side projects on all the time. I'm part of the Queen City Game Changers build team. I'm part of River Roots build team here. So like, I want to keep doing all this fun stuff. I want to ensure that somebody's out there going, are you happy? By God, let's go get on the happy boat.
I love that. Like, yes. And I want to say too, like I am obsessed with your energy and I love that you are just like, and I want to be a part of this. I want to be a part of this. I want to be a part of this. I want to be a part of this.
I want you to be part of it. That's what's cool.
It's so cool. And your energy is absolutely contagious. For anyone out there who is feeling tired, I want to let you guys know that I am in my rest era and I am loving it. So they're both great, right? Like I am loving.
Gosh. I love go
sitting
season.
Down. And I love sitting down.
I told my kids today, we were driving to school and I said, you guys, we're in our 7-week stretch. We had 7 weeks. Like I got a lockstep with my kids. I've got teenagers. And so they've been part of everything. I started my first company when my oldest, who's 20, he'll be 24, was 8. Rosie was 5.5 months old. And I literally had just strapped her to my back and like was rolling out graham crackers. And so I'm like, and they know it. Mm-hmm. We're probably going to DoorDash a lot over the next 7 weeks. You know what I mean? Like whatever it is, whatever the survival, you know, but then we hit our pause moment. I get a pause, right? Yeah. And like, it's important. It's important to look at your seasons, you guys. If you've never really done, like there is a season of planting, right? Like I feel like 2025 for me is me finally harvesting a little bit. I've been planting and tending and weeding and watering for 15 years. I'm ready to pull some buds off.
Yeah, I'm ready to sit down on the couch. But I mean, that doesn't, I love to work.
That's why I go to bed at 7.
Right? Which I don't. So I'm like, I need to go to bed.
Well, when they're all teenagers and you aren't cool, it helps.
I still have 2 9-year-olds.
Because I'm like, well, should I start knitting?
I know.
My girls are like, absolutely not. But I'm like, but Netflix needs to add some new stuff then.
Oh, well, we can talk Netflix after this because I've got the whole program down. But I just, I live.
It's a real glamorous life over here, you guys.
I don't know. I'm sure you guys can relate to. There are some, you come out of some seasons and you're like, I've pushed, I've worked, I've done everything possible. And like, now I'm just going to rest and enjoy. And when I get in the seasons that you're currently in and your 7-week stretch, I also want to normalize that it is totally okay to like, I'm sure your to-do list every day is 2 trillion miles long, and to just be like, you know what? Some of it didn't happen and that's okay.
Oh my God, every day something doesn't happen.
Right? And so like this notion of being like, if you need to collapse for a second and be like, I need 6 hours off, give that to yourself because you come back better. I just did it with
spring break. The kids were on spring break last week. Oh my God, you guys. I tried to take us out of town. I woke up last Sunday and I said, you guys, pick a place within 2 hours, we'll go.
Oh, to get 3 kids to decide on one place. I don't know about you, but we can't even pick a movie.
My 2 teens, and they were like, well, let's go to Indianapolis. And I was like, cool. So we drove over there. Nothing was open. We literally, it was the most expensive trip to Target. Like, that's what it ended up being.
Right?
Yes. We go there. They didn't pack their bathing suits. So we had to go get bathing suits because they were going to swim, which the water was too cold. And then on Monday, nothing was, so we literally just drove over and stayed in a hotel and drove back. But my daughter looked at me and she said, but you said your shoulders came down a couple inches. And isn't that what it was about?
Yeah.
And I said, you're right. I feel I needed just to step away from everything. So now how do we rest of the week? You know what I mean? And so it's not all, but I knew I needed it. I knew I needed time to just catch my breath. It has been the craziest 2 months of, I'm looking at Tara. I'm like, the last 12 years, 2 months. The last 2 months feel exceptionally beautiful, but I think it's because everything's working. And I have to remind myself, if I just had one company, it wouldn't feel like this. I have 4 thriving companies. What a great blessing that is.
Really?
That in and of itself is a miracle. And I don't want to bypass a moment of that. I wake up and I get to do this every day. And I know you guys are here and you're in an office and it's crazy times right now. And you're like, yeah. But we can all practice gratitude together. And I'm here if you ever need an ear. And I know I say that and people are like, you're crazy. But I say that in the context of it goes back to the suffering piece. We probably got to wrap it up.
Nope, I've got us. We're good. I got you.
But if you have a question, I would much rather you take a moment out of your day and ask me versus suffering versus spending 24 hours on the Google, right? There's just humaning is suffering, right? That's part of the beautiful complexity, I think.
Agreed.
Watching my mom die was one of the most beautiful, profound things I've ever witnessed. Because I saw in that moment how precious it was to be alive. What a gift. Her death gave me the gift of life in so many ways.
So often these pivots or these things that happen to us or these big moments in life, I often say are the perspective that is our greatest gift that we never wanted. You certainly don't want your mom to pass, but what a gift to have the perspective of how precious life is.
Yeah.
One of my other favorite sayings that has gotten me through so many pivots, and I feel like, when we're in cultures where the world feels so heavy and you're like, I just keep turning around and walking into a wall. And when you were saying before, you're like, I thought I was doing the thing and then another thing and another thing. How many times do you feel like you just have the weight of your world on you? But my favorite expression, and it has turned out to be true 100% of the time, is that you have not been buried. You have been planted.
That's it.
It's truly you've been planted. Yes. But seriously, there are moments where, work feels heavy and life feels heavy and relationships feels heavy and kids are puking and everything is just too much. But there's something that unearths from that is so profound, that is the greatest gift. So I think I just want to share that for anyone who is feeling like they're just getting by, to really anchor into the faith that like it is all going to be okay and something really great is on the other side that you can't even see yet. It's all going to be okay. It really is. It all works out.
It's the pearl, it's the lotus,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, look at these things that we like attribute to so much beauty, right? Pearls are gorgeous. They had to suffer so much to get there, right? Like, they had to bear so much pressure to become. What if that's it?
Mm-hmm.
Like, the becoming is so incredible. The becoming, this is it. Like, this is life. You have this one wild and precious life. What a gift it is. True. I don't know. Like, again, it's like, I'm like, yeah. It doesn't feel like this is who I am. And I think it's partly because of the suffering. I can look back and be like, oh my God, yeah, oh, whew, if I lived through that. When my marriage ended, I made the promise to myself, I wasn't going to give up one more day. Puts a little bit of pressure on, you know?
Yeah.
But to me, that means I'm going to choose me every day. I'm going to choose the work every day. I'm going to choose gratitude every day. It isn't a smoke show. Like, this isn't this is the most grounded, rooted thing, you guys. Because I'm sure you hear from a lot of people. You probably sit in a lot of these things. And there's so many ways. I don't want to say like make your life better, because I don't.
There's so many things that are out of our control, right?
Your life is incredible because you're here and you're in it. Accepting that is maybe the challenge.
One of my favorite questions to ask myself every day is like, how do I want to feel today? When you wake up in the morning and you make that to-do list and you're like, woof. Yeah. It's like, okay, well, I have a choice. How do I want to feel doing these things today? What if it all works out? That's my other favorite question, because it gets you, I mean.
Mine is it real? Ooh. I ask that, like, if I'm stuck, if I feel anxious, if I start getting worried, if I'm like, ooh, what are they gonna, and I'm like, what's real? That's my lens.
Yeah.
And it immediately like just knocks so much dust off the rafters, because then all of a sudden you're like, oh, well, the only thing real about this whole made up thing is talking with Bob at 2, and I can talk to Bob at 2.
I know, but you've written a whole movie about it.
Yeah.
Totally.
So like just this like idea of like what's real, like to me, it puts me back in my body.
It totally snaps you right back in the present.
Again, that's what I like about gratitude. In order to ask yourself, in order to answer the question, what you're grateful for, the first thing you have to do is like take an in-breath and get back in your body. That's why, again, like this is why it works, right? It's not telling you to do or be more. It's putting you back here where all of you can be. That's part, again, like there's all these magical layers about it. Mm. It's whole. And why that matters is because you're whole. And most of the tools are only for a part, not for the whole. But gratitude's for the whole.
It's a beautiful bow. Yeah.
Put a bow on it.
Put a bow on it.
Is there anything better than when someone asks you where you got something and you're like, Amazon, can you believe it? It's like when someone says, oh, I love your dress, and you get to be like, it has pockets. I love Amazon because I can experiment with trends and activewear and fashion, beauty, and anything else I really want without having to break the bank. If you're like me and you get a little bit sad, okay, maybe more than a little bit sad when there's no package at the door, then you are my people. Also, I think we might need help. But until then, visit amazon.com/shop/write your own story co, or click the link in the show notes to shop all my faves in fashion, beauty, home decor, organization, and more. These are treasures you're not going to want to miss.
Okay, one of the things that I want to, as we're starting to close, is I think, this notion of you have such a gift in your ability to build community. And it's been so multifaceted in how you've done that. For those who are feeling lonely and where they are, or they're like, I know that as a leader, now is the time where I really have to build community. What advice do you have?
Got to show up. You all showed up today, online and here in this room. So first and foremost, thank you and applause, because that's the hardest part, is the showing up.
Yeah.
There is no shortness of things to do in our city, but I will proudly say Power to Pursue is ready to love up on all of you guys. We do monthly programming. So we have an event every month called Ascending Women that we do in partnership with Mad Tree Brewing. Our next one is this Thursday, April 3rd. And coming in May. And I say that because it's so authentically true. There's nothing like it in the city. I work with every group in the city. It's very, very important for me to ensure that everyone everyone's welcome at my table, blah, blah, blah. But you have to show up. So if you want to build community, you're the only one that can do something about it. And showing up's the hardest, right? Like, we have kids, or we have sports, we have dinner. So I always just say, like, make the list. There's 5 groups you want to check out. And then, like, put one thing on your calendar over the next few months and give yourself permission to go into this organization and see what it how do you feel? Not what did I get out of it? Why am I going? But, like, how do I feel when I walk in? Do I feel loved? Do I feel accepted? Do I feel seen? Like that, right? Like, that's what matters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would say that.
I love that. And I think even when we think about ourselves within organizations, when it's like, what does it mean to show up and build community?
And if you're like, I'm so tired,
like,
find a new phrase.
Yeah.
Like, my kid, like,
rest era.
I tell people all the time, I'm like, that's how I get out of things. Like, tired is just an excuse to let life pass you by. Mm-hmm. I think in a lot of ways. I think we overuse it because I think it's easy. Who's going to be like, oh yeah, Rach, you're tired. Well, yeah, no one's going to like, but like, when are you not going to be tired? Like, I don't know. Like, I'm like, go to bed earlier. Like, nourish yourself.
Yes.
Don't drink more caffeine, drink more water. Like, like, learn how, if you're so tired, like, there's nourishment pieces that you can put in.
That caffeine remark feels like a personal attack. I'm just saying.
I don't even drink coffee.
I drink so much coffee.
I do drink those bad caffeine drinks for you. Some afternoons.
Safe space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fine. Yeah. Some green tea.
No, but I truly, if you are feeling depleted, what do you need to nourish yourself? It goes back to like the weight of the world. Like, I've got to do everything they're doing right away. No, you just have to show up to this one event and see how you feel. Then you go, wow, I felt really good in that. Those people were so nice. I had this conversation, again, gratitudes. Wow, I met 3 people, blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. I want to go and try it one more time. Was that just because I was a newbie? You got a date. Oh, God. Don't ask the 2 single moms what that's like. It's a whole nother episode.
It's
a whole nother episode.
But it's rough out in those roads.
I don't want to talk about it.
So, but like, I think that's just really important. So permission to date from a networking community aspect, whether it's, you guys do, like, Next Up, I know you've got all the chambers, like maybe it's your exercise community. It doesn't matter what it is. You are the only thing standing in your way from accessing it. That's what I do now.
And building it, and it's just those vulnerable moments of, like, even within your work community, to be like, does anyone want to go grab lunch? And do it with intention. Like, It is not to go, sometimes I find myself with my girlfriends and I'm like, we could sit here and complain the whole time about how busy life is and, oh my God, the kids, and I have 99 soccer games this weekend. Or like, we could go and make it a positive conversation. And that is so contagious.
Yeah.
So when I think about, just how we're all floating throughout our day and interacting with the people that we work with and that we life with, it's like, you have a choice for how you show up. And like you were saying, building those muscles to really show up with what you got and be positive and try and really, like, bring that community together just in those little small moments, just so, to make that contagious and to kind of shift the energy in the room and the world. That's all we can do is love on each other.
I think, like, Love is the most incredibly beautiful, powerful, like as someone who's had her heart shattered in like just really horrible ways, all I know is I want to love bigger. Those heartbreaks have helped me I'm like, let's go.
Yeah, right. And it also helps you realize how loved you truly are that you couldn't even see before.
Yeah. I think that was one of the best parts of the divorce, was the learning that all of me was worthy of being loved.
Absolutely. Okay, last question. This is my favorite one to ask.
Uh-oh.
What do you wish women talked more openly about?
Their heart.
Care to expand?
Yeah. You matter. Your heart matters. Your voice matters. Your body matters. Your brain matters. Your unit matters. Your work matters, but you matter. And every woman, every person is carrying something. And you have a really incredible opportunity to meet that person where they're at, with an open heart, with a belief that they matter because you know you matter. And I think it goes back to just normalizing normal things. It's not being afraid to share what's really going on. You know, I look at a piece that I walked through and I didn't know what was happening here because I had never witnessed it out in my own community, you know, and so the first thing I tried to do was, once I saw it, I was like, oh, we can talk, like, let's talk about it, right? Yeah. So, yeah, oh, man.
I love that. It's so, I mean, truly, I think everyone walks through the day with evidence coming at us that maybe we don't matter or that we aren't enough. But I think us showing up for ourselves first is the greatest evidence we could ever give ourselves that we really do matter and that we are worthy.
Can I read something?
I love that. Sure.
Just, I think it ties, oh my gosh, okay.
Please, I would love that.
Give it time, develop the muscle, shine light on it every day, water it. The tending is the important part. When you tend, things start to mend. I've had this practice for 30 years. I feel honored to share it so deeply here with you on these pages. I'm not so different from you, carrying the weight of the world these last few years. I guess a pandemic will do that to you. A dying mother or divorce will too. I guess the only constant is change. How many times can our heart shatter and we keep going? How many times are you willing to shed the old shell, like the lobster, to have more room for growth, joy, and peace? If I recapped my life since 2018, it would consist of this: emergency surgery, 100 pounds of weight loss, gaining custody of a family member for a year, a kid graduating high school and moving out, an investor who defrauded and stole from me and tried to destroy everything I've worked so hard to build, moving my family into my parents' home, which I eventually bought to help during her last few months, losing my mother, leaving an abusive marriage, becoming a single parent again, a kid graduating college. Yeah, that one that I had when I was young. The one I left college to raise. Man, I'm weeping just now saying that out loud. I'm proud of him and rebuilding, getting back up every single time, slowly getting back up. Healing can't be rushed. A whirlwind of grief, each time exploding me a bit more, each time filling my cracks with more gold. I should have bought stock in Kleenex. I look at my work too during all of this, and I think it just keeps getting better. With each new grief, I work to be more transparent and vulnerable with my words. The more I share transparently, the more hope I experience. More hope brings more grace. More grace makes space for more gratitude. More gratitude sheds more light. With more light, well, you can see where this is going. It's like Rachel's version of if you give the mouse a cookie, if you give Rachel a grief sandwich. Gratitude has saved my life time and time again. Gratitude brings me hope and grace every single time. It lightens the load. When I first started writing this book, it was for my mother, for her memory. So much has happened since her passing, and I now accept that this book has always been for me, capturing this journey I've been on, how death, divorce, and coming back home to myself mattered. The pain and suffering mattered. These words mattered. I matter.
I have goosebumps. It was beautiful.
Thanks for doing this.
This was an absolute pleasure. Rachel, don't ever stop being your big, bright, shiny, loud, perfectly imperfect as we all are self. I'm so grateful for what you do for the community. It has been an honor to talk to you today. It has been so nice to be back in these walls. You guys, thank you for sharing your time with us. What a gift. So thank you, everyone.
Well, that's the end of this episode, but promise me, you won't stop here with whatever it is you're feeling or dreaming about. I hope you leave today feeling empowered to live life just as you see fit. If this podcast was helpful to you, it would mean the world to me if you could leave a review on whatever platform you're listening on. I genuinely just want to help women live the life they dream about. So if this type of content tracks with you, subscribe to this podcast or visit our website, writeyourownsstory.co, to download digital courses or to grab a journal and a mug to just dream in and dream with. It's your life, lady. Do you. And just remember, I'm rooting for you and you've totally got this.